guardian at secondary school level was giving you in small pinches. Could have been that $500, but every time maybe it gives you $20, $10 or something like that. And so we realize then the students are getting overly excited when that money actually arrives. And remember, that money is supposed to go to tuition pocket, is supposed to go to upkeep pocket, and supposed to go to books and stationery. And so our question was then, how can we impact more knowledge to these students so that they can be able to know? And we prepared a lot of physical documentation or brochures, and the student was supposed to read. But then we had no mechanism of how does that student then, we make sure that the student has actually understood what is KYC, for example. Because you're looking for KYC. What is budgeting, financial budgeting, so that you know $500 has come, but this is supposed to last me the entire year. Or HELB will pay $250, maybe twice. So the question was, how does this carry me across the entire year? And so we wanted to put something that they can be able to read and understand. And as we'll be looking at it later, we then automated the entire of that process in terms of putting it on a digital platform. There are two versions of that digital platform. If you don't want to listen to the video clips, you can actually download the PDF, read through, and until you're ready, then you can be able to execute or do the exam. Now there's an exam at the end of it. That exam really tells you you have actually understood. It's not like the normal website things. You see all the agreement and you go down there, read and understood, and you tick. So our read and understood must be from a technical point of view that you have actually understood what you are saying. So we have a small exam there you do at the end of it. And when I look at the first applicant, because that's why we have started, because we needed to start somewhere first of all. When I look at first-time applicants, now we are at about 61,000 applications. Augusta, we need to amend that. When we met last, it was 40,000. A week later, we have now 61,000 applications, online applications. That tells us that the number we had set of 85,000 might be busted, because today again, if you have read the papers, we have advertised for TVET today. So undergraduates already we had 61,000. The student who passed on the first attempt, go through the literacy itself, whether by PDF or by audio, 90% of the students went through. And we have another 4% who repeated on the second time and they were able to go through, and another 3% who repeated and on the third time they have gone through. So ideally, it's actually a 100% kind of pass rate, and we are sure that person is clear in terms of what we are saying on that document. Now, if you look at the impact we are causing on this process, one of the key things of financial literacy and part of your financial management is to say you don't have to wait for 4 years to repay your loan, because that's ideally what many students think, that I should be funded for 4 years at the university, HELB gives me 1 year to settle in life, and then I start repaying. However, we know a number of the students are actually making deals here and there. They are doing some small businesses. And we are saying, out of those small businesses, is it possible for you to reserve something small, so that this dream of this boy of becoming a journalist can then be realized? And that is what we are trying to push. And out of that effort, which we started around last year by visiting when we were doing it physical before we went online, we have now 2% of our students. We have about 209,000 students on board. 2% of that 209,000 students are actually repaying their loan. And they're in second year, they're in third year, they're in fourth year, whatever they are. They have heard the message. They know their brother, their sister, their sibling must be able to access that facility. There is no way you can be able to access the facility unless they start revolving the fund. That has taken us time in terms of trying to segment and understand the portfolio of our students, and then explaining to them what is it, how can they be able to help their brothers and sisters in terms of extending this gospel moving forward. Now, the entire financial literacy, we have tiered it into the years. So there is a guy who is coming through for the first time. That's the first year. That is where we have started. The conversation we have with him and the conversation we have with second year and third year are completely different. For the year, for example, we start talking about entrepreneurship. Is it possible for you? Why are you chasing for a job? Because every time, if you look at our website, it's flooded with, I've not gotten a job, so I cannot be able to start paying. Must you get a job to start paying? Remember, in our loan agreement, there is nowhere we have said you must get a job to start repaying the loan. We only give you 1 year to settle in life. Settling in life, I've already said, means a lot of things. Sharon, you can get married by a rich guy and he starts repaying your loan. Yeah? Or Wanyama, you can marry a very rich girl and they start repaying the loan. So settling in life, we give you 1 year to be able to resettle so that you can then start removing that fund backwards. And we're excited about, when we say 2% of, staff are already repaying the loan, we're very excited about those numbers, how they are coming through. Now, on entrepreneurship, and this is the conversation that we're having also with Maisha Edu and the sponsors, KCMB and APA, is it possible to then tailor-make entrepreneurial courses which can then start being taught at 4th year? So that the student can know, as I get out, as I prepare to get out, I can actually start this small outfit, which every day you look at Kenya. Kenya now is a home of apps. Everybody is developing an app in one way or the other. Even Congo has talked about the KCB app. Today I've seen a Matatu app. Yesterday I saw some girls developing a bus app. So is it possible for us then to be able to tap into that banding, entrepreneurial skills, and then we push them out? If you look at our TVET product, for example, it is tailored for people who get out straight away and start, working in the market, rather than looking for a job. I've always given these statistics, and we are not shy about them. The employability rate of a TVET, to us, we have noticed, is 98% on the first month of graduation. When you look at the graduate level, and the statistics are now out, the unemployability rate in this country is 51%. And that is within the first year of graduation. So as a lender, between you and me, you can see where, as a lender, I should be putting my money. If you talk to Congo, it tells you ability to repay. It's only that as we don't look at ability to repay, we look at inability to repay, to pay your school fees. So we are very clear in terms of our value proposition. We know this country, for purposes of Vision 2030, must be driven by STI, science, technology, and innovations, and entrepreneurial skills. And those are the ones that we want to push and say, maybe in 4th year, and year issue, can we start seeing partners who can come in and teach us how to do entrepreneurial skills, so that we can be able to tap into that information. And already given this year, the government is committing about 10.3 billion. That's the money we want to push out to about 240,000 students in TVET and university levels, and that is a new catchment. That's about a third. In our strategy, we have said that by the end of 2018, we should be covering about 36% of the students who are in institutions of higher learning. We now know we have 600,000 students in institutions of higher learning. So at about 240, 250, we are right on course in terms of achieving our strategy of about 36%. If we can be able to produce that, and this country, remember, is producing about 1.5 million graduates every year. Those are the people who are getting out to look for jobs. However, officially, we are able to absorb only about 50,000 jobs across. So we are worried about that, and that's why this aspect of teaching them entrepreneurial skills then helps us in terms of covering for that unemployability levels, particularly at undergraduate level. And with those few remarks, I think I've covered much of the breadth and depth that we require to cover on this. I'll then invite maybe Zishandrak or Zuki to take us through, and maybe Wanyama and Company, Augusta, you might have to move on this side so that then you can see what the screen is doing.